What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 11 of the Real GP series. This week we'll be checking out just how much profit we can make at the Ancient Wyverns. Long awaited. That is all I can say about this video. Long awaited for you guys, long awaited for me, just all around long awaited. A lot of people have asked me when I'm going to do this video. Fortunately, it's been in the works for a while and I'm finally done with it. Now, unfortunately, actually very unfortunately, Jagex announced that they'd be reducing the defense level of the Ancient Wyverns from 220 down to 150. By the time this video is released, I'm sure that will have already happened, but since I already have the footage and loot recorded, I figure I'll re-release a new video to showcase how much loot you can get compared to the old Wyverns with 220 defense compared to the reworked and nerfed Wyverns of 150 defense. I think it'll be cool to compare how much the loot might improve after the defense level is changed. So let's get right into it. Ancient Wyverns are a relatively new NPC in the world of RuneScape, being released with the new island known as Fossil Island. In order to get to them, you'll need to complete a quest. It's not too hard and definitely not very long, so if you haven't done it yet, I suggest getting it out of the way. The quest you need to complete is called Bon Voyage, and if you need a guide, check out the description below. Now, after you've completed Bon Voyage, you'll most likely remember how to get there, but we will run over it quickly anyway. There is a few different ways you can reach Fossil Island, but I'll only be covering the fastest way to reach the Ancient Wyverns. First, you'll need a dig site pendant. Dig site pendants are ruby enchanted necklaces that cannot be bought or sold. You'll need to buy a ruby necklace and enchant it yourself. Teleport to the dig site using the pendant, then run just a bit east to the ship. First, you'll board the ship by speaking to the barge guard. Next, you'll travel by speaking to the lead navigator, and lastly, you'll take the little rowboat to the shore by speaking to the junior navigator. Once you arrive at the island, the cave you're looking for will be to the southeast. Run east past the bank a bit south, then turn to your southwest and enter the cave. Once you're inside the cave, you will then need to travel all the way to the back end of the cavern, where you will find 2 Ancient Wyvern spawns. If you're on a Slayer task, you'll have the option to use a Slayer only room, but in all honesty, you most likely won't need to use it. Not many people are camping these. So, as usual, let's get into some background information. Ancient Wyverns boast a combat level of 227 and a hit points level of 300. They are aggressive, but spending about 10 minutes in their area will nullify this. Their maximum hit is 16 with melee and ranged, but can be over 50 with Icy Breath if you aren't using an Elemental, Mind, or Dragonfire shield. You will also need to have a Slayer level of 82 or higher to kill the Ancient Wyverns. The Ancient Wyverns have an attack level of 150, strength level of 150, and at the time I did the 25 hours of these, a defense level of 220, and a range and magic levels of 90. Now honestly, it's not so much the defense level of these that's the problem, it's how consistently they hit. I found myself hitting quite often even on a defense level of 220 or sometimes 154 when I landed a Dragon Warhammer special attack, but the amount of damage they do was the biggest problem. Very rarely did they even hit 2 or 3 zeros in a row. As for the resistances, they share a plus 70 to stab, slash, and crush, so with the Abyssal Whip giving the best bonuses for its style, that'll be the weapon to use. Or if you do have the money to blow, you can consider using a Kraken Whip. There is also no available safe spot here, so you're pretty much stuck with melee as their range defense bonus is plus 120 compared to the plus 70 melee. Now we'll get into the drop table. So the drop table isn't as good as the Skeletal Wyverns, but it still has the potential to turn a profit depending on how lucky you are. The Ancient Wyverns have 3 unique drops on their table. They have the chance to drop both the Granite Boots and the Granite Longsword, both dropped at a rate of 1 in 600. Their other drop, which is unique to only Wyverns in this cave, is the Wyvern Visage. This is dropped at a rate of 1 in 10,000 by the Ancient Wyverns and 1 in 12,000 to the other Wyvern types. Other items you'll want to keep an eye out for while you're here are Mystic Air Staffs, Rune Battle Axes, 6 Noted Battle Staffs, 20 Noted Adamant Ore, Noted Runite Ore, Renar, Snapdragon, Yew, and Magic Seeds, and between 10 and 15 Onyx Bolt Tips. If you'd like to see a complete list of the Ancient Wyverns drops, check out the wiki link in the description below. Getting into the gear setup, I want to talk about the caliber of gear you'll need here. Now, you don't need the absolute best in slot here, but I would suggest having at least a few high tier items. I suggest at least having Primordial Boots, a Berserker Ring Imbued, and an Amulet of Torture or Fury. As for my personal setup, I'll be going with a Helm of Nitznot, Fire Cape, Amulet of Torture, Unholy Blessing, Abyssal Whip, Dragonfire Shield, Bandos Chestplate and Tassets, Barrow's Gloves, Primordial Boots, and a Berserker's Ring Imbued. In my inventory, I've got a super combat potion, stamina potion for the run there, 2 prayer potions, a dragon warhammer for the special attack, 21 sharks, a dig site pendant, and some house teleports. Just like skeletal wyverns, protection prayers won't help you much here as all 3 combat styles are used by the ancient wyverns. So you'll want to bring prayer potions so you can constantly use the piety prayer. With a defense level of 220, I needed to be hitting as hard and as accurately as possible. I also chose to take the Dragon Warhammer because of its special attacks ability to reduce defense levels by 30%. A successful hit would drop their defense 66 levels, which helped a ton. If you can't afford the Dragon Warhammer, I suggest at least taking a Bandos Godsword. Even being maxed and having the best gear, I was still only able to get between 4 and 6 kills a trip on average. If I was lucky, I could pull out 7 or 8. If you don't have a weapon that reduces defense, I really can't imagine that you'd even last 3 kills here. So now let's jump into some loot and see just how good these wyverns were pre-nerf. I spent the usual 25 hours here, but only managed to come away with 730 kills. If you head back to episode 9, you'll see that I killed 699 skeletal wyverns in only 12.5 hours. At the ancient wyverns, I only averaged 29 kills per hour. The ancient wyverns drop so many different items, so I'll just be throwing up some screenshots of my loot instead of actively adding it to the price checker like I normally do. So after 25 hours of killing ancient wyverns, I ended up with 16,746,032 GP of total loot. Now this may seem like an awesome number, but let me tell you something. These things are incredibly expensive to kill. Throughout the 25 hours, I ended up using 2,485 sharks, 182 prayer potions, 34 super combat and stamina potions, 27 dig site pendants, and 135 house teleports. All of that added up together brings my supply cost to 3,956,018 GP. Subtracting this from my total loot leaves me with 12,790,014 GP, which ends up giving me a profit per hour of 511k. So as for my personal final thoughts on the ancient wyverns, now I'm not going to say this is bad because it's not really too bad overall, but for an NPC of this caliber, the profit per hour is horrendous. Last week I covered the Ents, and just for a comparison, I made 519k per hour there for much less effort. So as for now, I think killing the ancient wyverns should only be done on a slayer task or if you're chasing the wyvern visage drop. Until the defense nerf actually happens, I just don't think it's worth the time to be here, especially if you don't have best in slot gear. But that is going to wrap up episode 11, everyone. Thanks to those of you who requested this one. Even if you hadn't requested it, I was probably still going to cover it anyways because I was really curious to see how much you can make here per hour. It was fun figuring out exactly how much can be made here, and I'm definitely looking forward to making the comparison video once the defense level gets nerfed, so keep an eye on my channel for that one. Thanks everyone for taking the time out of your day to check out this video. As always, if you like this video, make sure to drop a thumbs up down below, and if you have any questions or comments, make sure to leave those down below as well. Until next week everyone, I will see y'all on the flip side. Take it easy.